Mika?
All right, thank you, everybody. Tonight is the regular monthly meeting of the Clinton Inland Wetlands Commission, Tuesday, April 7th, 7 o'clock in the Rose Room. Carol, would you mind calling roll for tonight?
Sure. Scott Harley?
Present.
Edward Alberino?
Present.
Mike Florio?
Here.
Robert Corson?
Here.
Larry Edwards is absent. Christopher Horvath?
Here.
Thomas Welch?
Here.
Mark Burno?
Present.
Douglas Elliott?
Here.
And Amy Handler?
I see Mark for Larry.
Yes.
Okay, that's so a couple house cleaning items for tonight. We got to review and approve 3 minutes. So I'll take for the first one, it was our regular monthly meeting from March. There's no changes to it. I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Chris moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Tom seconds. Any discussion on our minutes?
My action.
All those vote in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Second one is the March 19th special meeting sidewalk. Any changes to those minutes? Approve them as is. So, Bob, motion.
Second.
Second, same action. All those vote in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, and then the third site walk or second site walk, it was on March 26th. Take a motion to approve. So move. Okay, Chris moves. Second.
Second.
Tom seconds. Any discussion? All those voting in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay. Item agenda number 3, chair's comments. I don't have any comments right now. Item agenda number 4 is public hearing, which we do not have tonight. So up to number 5 is administrative review. I can assume there's no new applications.
I mean, just the ones that are on your,
Okay.
agenda.
Item 6, correspondence for the month.
Nothing
Okay.
outside of applications.
On to item 7, old business. First up is IWC 25-11, 81 Old Orchard Road, Assessors Map 6, Block 2, Lot 7-110 in the Zone R80. Lee Bowler is the applicant and owner. It's for a proposed activity and use site to place natural stone retainer at the bank of the pond, correct and prevent further erosion. And we are eligible for a decision tonight. So I see the applicants here. Did anyone have any further questions for the applicant? Wasn't covered in previous meetings or site walk? Ed or Mike, any questions on 81?
No.
Sure.
No.
Okay, if that's the case. We do have a motion to approve. Soon we can make that motion. Chris.
I move to approve application 81 Old Orchard Road, Assessors Map 06, Block 2, Lot 7-110, R-80 Zone, Lee Bowler, property owner, for plans submitted 01/02/2026. Road site development plan, phase 2, Kenilworth section, XI, Parkview Estates, lots 106-126, prepared for Spencer Hill Associates, Clinton, Connecticut, by Arthur Barton, LS, dated 07/06/1986, and submitted with handwritten notations on January 2nd, 2026. Unquote. The following collective findings. 1. Project as proposed will not have a significant impact on wetlands or water courses. 2. The project as proposed does not meet the definition of a significant activity. 3. This application meets the requirements of Section 7 of Clinton's Inland Wetlands Regulations. 4. Placing boulders or riprap around the perimeter of the pond is an effective way to stop pond erosion and keep the bank of the pond intact. 5, the approval of this application will resolve inland wetlands violation C-25-76 on this property. Conditions. 1, the grading and boulders will be in the upland review area and along the edge of the pond to fortify the existing rock wall to prevent further erosion of the soil adjacent to the pond. The boulders will not be placed in the pond. 2, the largest boulders will be 4 feet by 4 feet by 3 feet, and all other boulders will be 3/4 of that size. 3, grading will be no more than 16 inches deep, back 3 inches from the pond edge, and will be graded back to match the surrounding slope. Grading activity shall not result in further deposition of sediment into the pond. 4, existing clean fill, which is already on site, will be used. 5, the boulders will be placed at a finished 44.44% grade slope. 6, any additional work outside of what is specifically approved under this permit will require the property owner to contact the wetlands enforcement officer to determine if that work requires modification of this permit. 7, an annual ryegrass blended with perennial ryegrass will be planted for soil stabilization. 8, the owner of the property will contact the zoning enforcement officer once work has been completed for final inspection.
Thank you, Chris. So Chris made a motion. Do I have a second? Bob seconds. Any discussion on this application before we vote? Okay, all those voting in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you, guys.
Mark.
All right. Item 7B is going to be IWC 26-1. It is for 224 East Main Street. Assessors map 78, block 70, lot 159A in the zone group 4. Seamus Moran is the applicant. Alice LLC is the owner. It's for a proposed activity and use of site to demolish all existing improvements to the site and construct a new 2,664 square foot supermarket, paved parking lot, utility connections, stormwater management improvements, landscaping enhancements. So tonight, we, as a commission, just need to determine whether this project is a significant activity per our wetland regulations. If you need them, they're online, but they're pretty broad. And if anyone has any questions on that, just let me know. I can always pull them up. So tonight we can listen to the engineer's presentation. Feel free to ask any questions on the application. Pleasure.
Good evening, Christian. My name is Seamus Moran, PE in Connecticut. I work for H&H Engineering Associates. I'll just keep it short. I gave a presentation last week. I just want to fill in kind of the gaps. So obviously we had our wetlands walk. It was on March 19th. We didn't have the flags up at the time, though the wetland flags have been added. I know that the commission wanted to see the wetland flags, which they should, which you should, I guess I should say. So those were reflagged by Rich Snarski. The surveyor was out there. That was actually out there today. So if you guys were out there before 2 o'clock today, they weren't there. They are there as of 2 o'clock this afternoon. We tried to get them earlier I guess, later last month. We just had a tough time getting a hold of Richard Snarski. We finally got a hold of him. He was able to go out there with the surveyor. So they are flagged now. I know the commission wants to go see the site. I believe that's what I got from the last meeting. So we fully expect to be here next month anyway. We do have revised plans that we were waiting to submit until we had Richard's revised, if there was a revision to the delineation, but also his revised report. There are some items in there that Kathy had mentioned that she'd like to see in the report. So we expect to have Richard's updated wetlands report to submit with our updated site plans within the next couple days. So we haven't submitted the plans in response to the engineer's comments yet. We were waiting for their updated wetlands report, so that's why it's been done. We've just been waiting for some of the other things to happen here. So that finally has happened. We'll have the wetlands report and then we'll submit the plans. So those are all done. In terms of the significant activity, candidly, I didn't quite think that, but it doesn't really matter what I think. We are going to be here next month. So the process doesn't really change all that much. It was just the significance of it sounds more significant than I think what we're doing. I think what we're doing is a vast improvement over what's there. I think our stormwater management is a huge improvement over what's there. We're not impacting the wetlands, or we're not filling the wetlands, I should say. We're not, our letters from Rich Narcisse supports that we're not impacting the wetlands. I think what we're proposing is a much greater improvement than what's there now, but I'll leave that for the commission to decide. That's all for tonight.
It's like 19.5 feet from the parking lot.
Correct.
And so I don't know if that falls into the area of a significant impact.
So our determination of significant activity is pretty broad. I'll actually just quick read it, if you don't mind, just to brief everybody again. But for our regulation, it's any activity including but not limited to the following activities which may have a substantial effect on the area for which the application has been filed or another part of the inland wetland or watercourse system. So A, any activity involving the deposition or removal of material which may or may not, which will or may have a substantial effect on the regulated area or another part of the inland wetland or watercourse system. Any activity which substantially changes the natural channel or may inhibit the natural dynamics of a watercourse. Any activity which substantially diminishes the natural capacity of an inland wetland or watercourse to support desirable fisheries, wildlife, or other biological life, prevent flooding, supply water, assimilate waste, facilitate drainage, provide recreation, or open space or other functions. Any activity which causes substantial turbidity, siltation, or sedimentation in a wetland or watercourse. Any activity which causes a substantial diminution of flow of a natural watercourse or groundwater levels. Any activity which causes or has the potential to cause pollution to a wetland or watercourse. Any activity which creates conditions which may adversely affect the health, welfare, and safety of any individual or community, or any activity which destroys weak wetland or watercourse areas having demonstrable scientific or educational value.
Can I express an opinion based on that? Because they're putting a stormwater system that's going to affect groundwater and may affect surface water flow. The activities could, like sedimentation and so on, and the parking lot could impact that wetland. So I would say that it would be a significant activity.
I mean, and I would agree, not to influence anyone's vote, but typically any kind of larger application like this is close to the wetlands. We usually deem it a significant activity. And what it does is it triggers a public hearing, but then gets open to the public for public comment as well. So I guess I'll ask is, does anyone not think it's a significant activity? Okay. I guess Chris, you can.
Yeah, just a couple things. Would you like to schedule another site walk now that we have the stakes and the wetlands flags? Because we didn't have those things before.
So it is not stakes. We reflagged the wetlands if the commission would like certain components of the stakes.
I know we discussed it. We want to see stakes too, to see how close the relationship is between where the activity will be taking place and the wetlands flags.
Just you want the limits of the like the structural improvements, like
the limits of work, so that we can see, where
where
it's
not
located.
like you don't need to see grading. You don't want to see like the entire perimeter of the
Well, if it's close to the wetlands flags, they'd want to see that activity, the limit of work.
Okay, so the tree line clearance. That's what okay. Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Like limit of disturbance.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So not the parking lot, it's the limit of disturbance. That's what I want to clarify. Thank you.
So I don't know if you
Does anyone have an interest in seeing it state?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's no wall.
I think we would
So do you want to schedule?
Yeah, so as part of your motion at the end, can you schedule a site walk? Say 16th? Around
Do
16th,
that?
next Thursday.
I am away next week because it's spring break and
It is, 23rd?
23rd is fine. Yep.
Do you want to do the 23rd with the 30th as a rain date,
Mhm.
the following Thursday?
Guys are okay with that?
What time?
23rd, 6 o'clock.
I'm assuming you guys want.
I'm sorry, Kathy, what date are you gonna schedule the next site walk for?
They're looking at Thursday, April 23rd at 6 o'clock with a rain date of Thursday, April 30th at 6 o'clock.
I'll be home. I'll be home.
Okay.
I like to see though, because I asked, we're pretty close. The wetlands is pretty close to the boundaries, and I'd like to see the delineation done, hasn't been done since 2008. And I'd also like to see the stakes there.
Okay. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody should wear boots.
So you don't need to be there, the representative, really just to show us the flags that were flagged.
I'd prefer to be there, but if the 23rd didn't work for everybody and the 16th are better, then I wouldn't be here, but. you guys-
No, 23rd.
Yeah.
Chris, would you mind reading motion and then just adding on at the end, additional site walk on the 23rd, rain date for the 30th?
Why, sure, Scott. I move to determine application IWC 26-1 for 224 East Main Street, Assessors Map 78, Lot 70, Lot 159A, Zone D4, Seamus Moran, applicant. Alice, ALICE, LLC owner. A significant activity as shown on plans entitled, quote, site development plans, commercial redevelopment, 224 East Main Street, US Route 1, prepared for Alice LLC by HH Engineering Associates, 232 Greenville Avenue, Suite 201, Mystic, Connecticut, 06355, dated 02/02/2026, and made the following collective findings. One, this application involves a deposition or removal of material which may have a substantial effect on the regulated area. Two, a public hearing regarding this application would be in the public interest. Three, inland wetlands and boundary flags need to be established in the field, and the limit of site disturbance needs to be staked in the field for the commission and its consulting certified soil scientists to fully evaluate the potential for the project to affect the regulated area. Or the commission may choose to conduct another site walk once the wetland boundary and limit of disturbance have been placed. This site walk will be scheduled on Thursday, April 23rd at 6 p.m. with a rain date on Thursday, April 30th, 6 p.m. 5, all comments in the town engineer's report dated 03/17/2026 need to be addressed by the applicant. 6, all documentary evidence in support of the application shall be filed with the commission and be available for public inspection no less than 15 days prior to the day of the hearing or any reconvening thereof. The public hearing for this application will be held on Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at the Andrews Memorial Town Hall, 54 East Main Street. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Do I have a second? Chris's motion? Seconds. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, on to 7C, IWC 26-2, it's 0 Cow Hill Road. So here's map 32, block 8, lot 2, the zone R30. Tony Boldock, the applicant, Richard, Michael, Stanley, Edward, and all of the owners. Proposed activity and use of the site to construct 2 6-unit townhomes off Martin Drive, and an additional 6-unit townhouse off Cow Hill Road. All units to be served by subsurface sewage disposal systems. Public water will be extended down Martin Drive. Those units and Cow Hill will be served by a well. The application is being sought as an 8-30G application. So just like the previous application, what we need to do tonight is determine if it's a significant activity and warrants the need for a public hearing.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I did not make that site walk. I didn't go on the sidewalk. So I guess there's a couple of members that didn't go, so if I could arrange with Kathy when I get back to go.
Sure, we can do that.
Thank you, Kathy, I appreciate it.
No problem.
Agent for the applicant. Okay, so a couple things. I was just gonna, we have actually revised the plans. It's the units off of Cow Hill Road is actually down to 5 units. So we finagled some of the drainage over there, but the units down to 5. So I just wanted to address that. You guys did have a site walk on 326-26, and there was mention of a vernal pool within 100 feet of the townhouse building unit number 2. So just to jump around, so the memorandum that Kathy is going to put out, we do agree with the proposed motion. That gives us enough time to have soil scientists go out, determine if that is a vernal pool. So and outside of that, any other questions? I think I covered pretty much everything.
Okay, let me.
And it actually gives the, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Town engineer time to review, because it doesn't look like he's had a chance to comment either.
This is 8.5 acres. When we have maps of these sites, I think it would be really helpful if the commission members.
You guys just have the PDFs at the moment?
I'm sorry?
You just have PDFs at the moment?
I don't have that
Yeah.
one. Huh?
Do you need paper copies?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, they want paper, okay.
Yes, just raise a hand. Everybody needs that? Okay. I'll make 7, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
7. We normally have Eddie and Mike, will you be attending in person next month or will you be
No.
virtual? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't come back till the 18th of May.
Okay.
Okay, house plans are just the site plans. Okay, so that's. Absolutely.
Do you know how much acreage of that 8.5 will actually be developed?
It's actually a smaller amount.
Are we waiting for something?
They want paper plans.
No, to join.
I'll leave this.
Okay.
Most of the activity is.
Okay, so
Very big amount of that is.
less than 50%.
Yeah.
And the north arrow is that way. Goes on the southern portion of the property. You went back to that. Oh, okay.
Do you want to see?
Want to see? That's the.
Are the plans that are on line? Thank you.
So the plans that are online, I believe, are the original submittal plans as revised, not the current revision that Tony was talking about, right?
Yeah.
You uploaded the.
Yeah, that's shocking. That's what we got in the truck.
Yes. So those plans are online.
So maybe 2017 for a little nicer. Yeah.
Do you think this is enough for us?
It's up to you all, whatever you feel you need.
I think this is enough.
Maybe do you want to see it before the meeting? Come pick them up in the office, or do you want them for the actual meeting?
I was gonna say, I can make a couple sets and drop them off. Worst case
Because if
scenario.
you don't mind, you can come into land use and take them if you want, but Tony can leave them with us, give them in advance. Everything,
I'll do both.
Yeah, the
It's
PDF
It's
should,
already online.
yeah,
All of the links to every document that's been uploaded to the application is publicly available. So in your agendas, those are hyperlinked and you can get into the agenda and see every document there. But what we'll do is we will send the PDF separately to everyone. And then if there's a few copies in the office for folks who want to see it laid out in bigger format up on one of our screens, you're welcome.
yeah, if you feel you need the paper, we can get that, Tony's happy to get that for you.
Yes.
It's open to the public and access all that.
Yep.
They can see it all online, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes, any questions? Yeah.
This is sort of outside of our purview, but I'm nervous about the width of Martin Drive. And these additional cars that are in there. It just seems it's a very narrow road with people parking on it. I'm just concerned, can it handle this additional traffic?
So that, the size would be handled under planning and zoning. But if your question can be related anything back to the wetlands, you can formulate it in that way, you can ask it.
No, I didn't see a connection to the wetland. I just, instead of thinking, I knew it was outside of our purview. That who would answer the question, does the road need to be widened or anything to handle the traffic?
So I guess the question that we can ask is, does the current driveway and how the site layout doesn't meet Clinton standards where it won't change in planning and zoning, then come back to us for a change.
It is right now it is a town road, so it meets town road standards. So whatever comments the town engineer comes up with, or any concerns that he has with the road, we will try and address.
And specifically, the analysis of traffic, parking, any of those pieces, those concerns need to be brought directly to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So at a time, so right now, an application has not been filed with the Planning and Zoning Commission because this process is underway and they will need the decision of this body in order to render a decision against the Planning and Zoning.
Good question.
You want me to, can I render an opinion whether I think it's a significant activity because of the development and the disturbance of soil, the changing in grade, you can impact groundwater and surface water flow during construction, after construction. So I would say it's a significant activity.
Does anyone think that it is not? Go ahead. Just one more time, can you hit me with a proposed motion, please?
Okay. I move to determine that application IWC 26 for 0 Cow Hill Road, map 32, block 8, lot 2, zone R30, applicant Tony Boulder, owner Richmond, Michael, Stanley, Edward, Paul. A significant activity is shown on plans entitled, quote, Cow Hill Road and Martin Drive, affordable housing development, dated 11/18/2025, prepared by Double D Design for Joe D. Filippo, unquote, and made the following collective findings. One, this application involves a deposition or removal of material which will or may have a substantial effect on the regulated area or on another part of the inland wetlands or watercourse system. Two, the commission finds that a public hearing regarding this application would be in the public interest. Three, additional information concerning the design of the stormwater management system is required to determine the degree of potential impact of the proposed development on inland wetlands. Four, based on the application record and proposed deposition and removal of material which may have a substantial effect on the regulated area, the commission hereby determines that the proposed development constitutes a significant activity pursuant to section 2.20 1A of the Clinton Inland Wetlands and Water Courses Regulations. 5, a public hearing for this application will be held on Tuesday, May 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m. the Andrews Memorial Town Hall, 54 East Main Street, 22 today.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Bob seconds. Any discussion? Mike,
No, I'm good.
you guys are good? Okay. All those voting in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month. Okay, item agenda number 8, WEO report. Kathy, is there anything outside?
Outside of the applications and the cease and crack.
Okay, good. On to item agenda number 9, new business. This is going to be C-26-1 and D-26-6 for 32 Old Nod Road. Assessors map 20, block 6, lot 57 in the zone R60. Robert Godsey, Brianna Miscuzio, butchering it, I'm sorry, are the owners, to provide the property owners of 32 Old Nod Road, Clinton, with the opportunity to be heard by the Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission and to show cause why the cease and desist order issued by the Inland Wetlands Enforcement Officer and our duly authorized agent dated March 31st, 2026 should not remain in effect. Within the exercise of its statutory authority, the Commission may determine that the original order should be affirmed and remain in effect, that a revised order should be issued, or that the original order should be withdrawn. And so show cause hearing, and then ultimately what we need to determine tonight is if Kathy's action to determine the violation should stand. Otherwise, if show cause is basically the owner of the property has the ability to talk to us before we make a decision. So did our town attorney?
Yep, so our town attorney, Jennifer Coppola, is actually online, so she was going to say a couple words to the commission. She can hear us. And just introduce yourself. She's here as a resource to the commission to help you through process and other pieces. So Jennifer, are you able to speak?
I never.
So in the absence of her being able to jump in, I can also assist with process and other pieces. I think as we get started, Kathy was going to give just the summary of what the order was, so you have some context for what this is, what's been brought to you this evening. And then I believe the applicants or the property owner's attorney is here to address this as well. So
Good.
Okay, so I guess I'll begin. Okay, so, as Abby stated, per section 13.3A of the Inland Wetlands Regulations, it states that if the, Wetlands Enforcement Officer issues a written order, that it needs to come to the commission within 10 days of the issuance. The commission shall hold a hearing to provide the person the opportunity to be heard and show why the order should not remain in effect. So this is within the 10 days. And then you consider the facts and then determine, as Abby explained, whether it should be withdrawn, revised, or if it should remain upheld. So just a somewhat brief description. And just so you all know, I don't know if you've had a chance, but on your agendas, there's a hyperlink to C26-1 and V26-6. C26-1 was the complaint when it first came into me. And then I made a determination as both wetlands officer and zoning enforcement to escalate this to a violation. So V26-6 is the violation for the inland wetlands. So it's the same, it's just, it got escalated. So back before the first of the year, I had a couple of meetings with the property owners, Robert and Brianna Godsey, about their property. They were going to purchase on 32 Old Knot Road. They were interested in discussing possible farm use and forestry use. We talked about how they would need to have an as-of-right determination for farming from the Inland Wetlands Commission. And I know this is wetlands, not planning and zoning, but just so you know, they also would have to apply for farm use and planning and zoning. We talked a number of times about how they would need a survey with wetlands delineated and to just show on a site plan what they're looking to do and where on the property they were looking to do it, such as pastures, barns, any other type of activity. So they indicated at the time they were interested in farming potential beef cattle, horses, and some selling of firewood. So I received a few complaints that there was a lot of cutting going on adjacent to the pond. So on January 9th of this year, I went out to the property and I observed that there was, a lot of cutting going on. At this time, the God season, it said I was allowed to enter the property. And I do have some photos, which are in the file, but I'm just going to show them to you. It showed heavy equipment tracks and some, yeah, it's the yeah, not, and these are the other photos that will show. The other ones are I think they're these here.
Guys, you gotta go back into share screen so that
Oh, okay.
can see.
So what you're going to want to do is go back into the Zoom.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
This is
No problem. Up.
Little green arrow at the bottom.
Yep. So just try to see.
share. Okay, yep.
Okay. And then we're going to open, I believe it might be those photos there. Yep. So if you could just scroll down. So this was part of the order. There we go. So you can, I don't know if you can move Mike or.
Can I
Close it.
Yeah.
close them down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm sorry, I did.
It's,
Verify the booking.
there you, okay, they're there.
Is he there?
Maybe just slide it to the side so that you can see the photos.
Okay, sounds good.
So if you can see there on the links as well, but you can see cut trees and there's some heavy equipment mark tracks such as those within 0 to 50 feet of the inland wetlands. So at that time, I had contacted the property owners, and actually Abby Pearsall and I met with them, and I had a lot of communication. These are some of the dates I've written down where we had in-person and written via communication with emails on 1/14/26, 1/20/26, 1/27/26, 1/29/26, 2/6/26, 2/12/26, 2/24/26, and 2/25/26, discussing their intention to farm and conduct firewood or logging activity. Unfortunately, we never received any applications or any indication that there was going to be an application for the as of right determination for farming, and the activities continued, at which point I received another complaint. So I drove out to the property on 3/19, and that's when I issued, well, I went out to the property and I was told I was not allowed to enter, but I did take photos and I saw, the cutting and everything. So I did issue a cease and desist order. Basically, the property owner had mentioned to me previously that they thought they had what's called a PA 490 on the property, which is an assessment designation for farming. So there's a couple of things with that. First of all, even if you have that designation, it doesn't mean that you have the right to farm without coming in for as of right designation and the proper permits. And those have not been submitted. The assessor's office did receive an application on February 18th of 2026 for application to the assessor for classification of land as farmland. This was not completed. The other thing is I did receive a note from the assessor on April 6th of 26 stating that the PA 490 for the property is removed because there was one previously. And they said, according to state statute, if there's a change in ownership, a new application is required and an inspection of the property to determine that the land is still within the guidelines for Public Act 490 is required. The application must be filed between September 1st and October 30th to be considered on the next upcoming grand list. So there is no PA 490 application on the property now.
Real quick, can you explain what a PA 490 is?
So what it is it's the assessor classification for land as farmland. So it also provides a tax break because you're using the land for farming purposes.
And that's what the town determines whether to classify it as farmland versus residential.
But it's different in that, again, you can have the designation, but you still need permitting. It doesn't, it doesn't just give you free range to do whatever you want. You still need the as of right determination.
But this wasn't classified as farmland, is what you're saying.
So in the past, there have been 490 designation, but it doesn't go from owner to owner. You need to reapply.
Okay.
From what the assessor told me, unless it's a family member. So this property does not have the designation. An application was filed February 18th, which is after the period that they can file. And so they do not have that designation. Also, I did get some photos from the Realty website when the property was marketed, which are right here. And the history of the property shows no use of any farming. You can see from all the aerials. And there's, if you can scroll down there, none of them show any farm use. And the other marketing of the property, the description mentions nothing about farming either. So I did some research on the property. I did not find anything that showed an established farm use that would be carried forward. So if this is going to be a new use, as we discussed with the owners, they could do it. And we were very happy to guide them through the process. And we offered multiple times to have meetings and to help guide them through this process. But they had to come in and meet with us and provide us with a site plan of what they were looking to do, and as well as have the wetlands delineated and just show us on the plan what they wanted to have on the property. But they were not cooperative.
And the owners have denied you access to the property?
The second time I went out, yes. So basically there is no farming use on the property at this time. And so if the farming activity is something they would like to pursue, they need to go through the proper channels and permitting processes.
Any questions for Kathy before we hear from the owner of South Egypt? Eddie or Mike, any questions for Kathy before we hear from you?
Mr. Chairman, I just got a question. What is it zoned for? Is it non-conforming or conforming right now?
I think, well, and one of the things that I think is important here is that the zoning is that the property is split. There's industrial and residential zone districts on the property. There are paths under the zoning regulations via special exception to establish a farm use under zoning. What would come before wetlands, however, would be an as of right determination about the proposed farming use as it relates to the wetlands. And that typically that would happen and is supposed to happen before the activity on site commences. And so that's sort of the wetlands purview of this. The planning and zoning purview is slightly different.
So, Abby, what is your final objective? Do they want to be a farm or not be a farm? What do they want to do?
When the applicant, when the property owners and their representation, their attorney has a chance to speak, they'll go through that with you.
How many acres is that property?
They must have an objective. What do they want to do?
They're going to have a chance to speak, Eddie. So they'll talk about that.
Okay.
I can tell you the conversations we've had and what they've stated to me in writing is, and verbally was, their intention was to farm the property. They wanted to have beef cattle and do some wood, firewood, that type of thing, and have horses.
How many acres is it?
It is, it's my paperwork, 27.56.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty big. You know.
Pretty big. Mm-hmm.
Well, if we can, maybe we could work with them. But they did go around the bush. They didn't stop. They didn't do things correctly. But if we can help them, I like to help them. But they have to go to you first and put an application. They have to do everything right.
Okay. So
we made exceptions before with several other people, but I just they definitely went the wrong way here. So maybe we could straighten them out and help them out.
So like either the owner or agent for the owner wish to speak?
Thank you.
Identify yourself, please.
Yep. My name is Doug Dubinsky. I represent Brianna and Robert Godsey, 32 Old Knob Road. As you heard, they got a wetland cease and desist order. I'm here today to ask you to lift it, and I'm going to explain why. With the property, first off, with regard to PA 490, your wetland agent accurately stated that PA 490 designation does not go from one owner to another, except in limited circumstances, which don't apply here. So when they purchase property, they need to apply anew for PA 490. But PA 490 has nothing to do with wetlands, has nothing to do with farmland designation with regard to land use, except
with regard to taxation. So that is not an issue here today. Whether they have PA 490 designation or not is irrelevant. There's farms all over the state that have been farming for generations that do not have PA 490. PA 490 is something that farmers apply for in order to get tax reduction, has nothing to do with wetlands. There is the property is, as was said, 27.5 acres. Show you a drawing which lays out current and anticipated uses. I apologize that it's not a great drawing, but it's what was on the town land records. Excuse me.
Can I cancel this?
We've done a little markup of it. The cease and desist order indicates that the Godzies have been asked to have a new survey done and a soil scientist come in and do a wetland designation, which, as you may know, is very expensive. With 27 acres, we could be talking many, many thousands of dollars. That is not in the cards right. What you're looking at is a combination of 2 pages that were put together and essentially photocopied.
Do you have one for the record too? Or
I'm sorry?
is there one for the record too?
I'm sorry, I only brought 7.
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Perhaps you can share.
Okay.
In fact, I don't even have one for myself.
Okay. It's fine. We'll get it from one of the other members.
Excuse me. As you can see, the various areas, the paddocks, the pastures, and the various buildings and other areas are marked on the drawing. The key to them is at the bottom. I apologize, it's fairly small and a little hard to read, but it does indicate what is where and where everything is going to go. The only one that is missing is number 14, which is up here. I did not designate it. That is going to be the horse barn. They are thinking perhaps 8 stalls for 8 horses. Other than that, all of the areas and structures are designated on there. So their plan is to have beef cows, have horses. There's 1 horse on the property at the moment. There are gonna be goats. There's 1 at the moment. They do have beef cows, but until they've cleared the pastures, the beef cows are elsewhere. They're hoping to bring them onto the property fairly soon as they get the pastures cleared. Farming activities are exempt from local wetland regulation. So what I'm asking you to do is to lift the cease and desist, because this commission has no statutory jurisdiction over this activity. It is statutorily exempt from your regulation. It's regulated by the state, not by the municipality. There is a section of your wetland regulations, section 4.1A, which indicates that farming and grazing are as of right. It is there is another provision where the property owner would come to the commission and seek a jurisdictional rule. Say, we believe we are exempt because we're farming. Please give us a jurisdictional ruling that we're statutorily exempt and that the commission has no statutory jurisdiction to regulate this activity. Admittedly, they did not seek a jurisdictional ruling. I'm asking for one tonight. Simply because they did not ask for one in advance does not affect this commission's jurisdiction, does not make it a regulated activity. As you can see, the definition in your wetlands regulations in section 2.19, the definition of regulated activity specifically excludes the specified activities in section 4. Well, section 4 has the as of right uses, including farming. So even in your regulations, it indicates that farming is not a regulated activity, even in or near the wetlands. This commission has no jurisdiction to regulate it. In the statutes, under Connecticut General Statutes 22A-38, there's also a definition of regulated activity. And it also said, I'll read it to you, it's short. Regulated activity means any operation within or use of a wetland or water course involving removal or deposition of material or any obstruction, construction, alteration, or pollution of such wetlands or water courses, but shall not include the specified activities in section 22A-40. So it mirrors almost exactly your wetland regulation, and it points to 22A-40. Well, in 22A-40, there's the list of permitted uses in a wetland. And it says the following operations and uses shall be permitted in wetlands and water courses as of right. The very first one, number 1, 22A-40 sub A1 is grazing, farming, nurseries. It goes through all of the exemptions. So not only is it an as of right activity, but under the statute, the commission is specifically has no jurisdiction to regulate it because it is not defined as a regulated activity. Commission is only authorized, only has jurisdiction to regulate regulated activity, and farming is not one. I have some pictures that we can go through to explain a little bit better. Again, I have 7 copies. Should I give you one of them?
Is that okay if a couple of you share? Okay. We just want to make sure everything's in the record.
I want to share.
I just wrote those.
Thank you. What we do is we want to mark this received for 7/26 at public hearing from attorney. Okay. Mr. Binsky.
All right, this is a picture, or the top right one. I think they all are the same. The top right, that is an area next to, I guess it would be to the east of the wetlands. As you can see on the drawing, there's a beaver pond all the way to the left-hand side of the property. Now, that beaver pond is considerably bigger now than it was when that drawing was made. The beaver pond has been elevated by beaver activity, and the water now takes up a considerably larger portion of the land. I'll show you in some other pictures. Actually, in this lower right-hand picture, you can see that there are actual trees growing out of the water because the water has spread out over areas that it never used to. There used to be live trees on the edges of the stream, and now that the beaver pond is there, it's moved out. So you see the water in the beaver pond in the lower left-hand picture, and then just to the right of it is where one of the pastures is going to be. This is the firewood operation, which is to the bottom left of the drawing, which is down here, it's number 13. Printer issue. Give me more, please.
Thank you.
We had a printer issue on too short. That one shows the firewood down in number 13. You'll see that logs have been taken from the property and they're being cut and sold as firewood. Now there is as your wetland agent indicated, there is also a zoning issue, and we'll be dealing with that. That came in a little bit later, so that's something we'll have to take care of in due course. But for now, we're just dealing with wetlands.
What is the zoning issue? Just out of curiosity.
With regard to the firewood processing area over. Now, this one shows the mitigate. And
Can you orient us to the big map where this is?
sure, the beaver dam is right there. It's as you see on the left-hand side of the drawing, you can see where there was I think it's a swampy area or something like that. At the base, at the bottom of that is where the beaver dam is. The beaver dam can't be more than 30 or 40 feet long. But the water kind of funnels down to where the beaver dam is, and then it drains out. You can see in the lower right-hand corner, you can see there's a culvert that goes under the road. And on the lower left-hand picture, you can see that the beaver dam has spread out past where the trees are and has killed a considerable number of trees along the way on both sides of where the channel was. And here's some of the farming activity that's currently on site.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, it's actually directed to Kathy. Kathy, how many times have you tried to make contact with these people?
Oh my gosh, at least 12. We've had meetings. We asked for a site plan. We asked for a plan to show us what was going on. And I also think it's important to mention there is no special exception on this property right now for farming use. I know that that's a planning and zoning piece, but I think it is important to mention that they're doing farming activity without a farming use established, and they're doing it within the wetlands. So technically, they did work in a regulated area with no permits, without any farming use on the property.
And this is directed to the attorney. Mr. Attorney,
Yes,
why
sir.
didn't your clients ever contact Kathy?
Well, they had been in contact a number of times. I think, and I'm fairly new to the situation, so I can't give you the whole history.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about this at all. But all I know is our wetlands enforcement officer, she's very thorough. And if she tried to make contact and then they went ahead and did everything, that's kind of a slap in the face to us. And now you're showing up, you want us to do everything in a exponential manner. I don't understand why they didn't reach out to Kathy. If they reached out to Kathy, Abby, our town planner, and Kathy would have came up with something. But you just can't ignore our town and do what you want. So I'm just my name is Ed Albert. I'm the vice chair, and I like to see things go ahead smoothly. That's why I made that presentation to say let's try to work with you people. But I didn't know you guys just kept ignoring Kathy and just go ahead and doing the work. That's not right. I don't know, and I don't know what town would accept that.
Well, I understand your position, and
I'm just a very honest guy. I'm just calling
everything was done.
like this.
I'm just indicating that we have two cease and desist orders that need to be dealt with. With regard to wetlands, the commission simply has no legal jurisdiction.
Well, then you could take those cease and desist orders. She's also the zoning enforcement officer. You just can't come into our town and start clear cutting, start doing anything you want without any type of permission, anything. We don't have anything on you. First of all, I'm airing this. And quite frankly, I'm really dismayed that you would all those. I'm done.
I'd like to add something in, and you brought up the point about the fact that you can farm because if it's a farm, you can do it in the wetlands, but
There's no,
that's established. I would think that would be established farm. This is
There-
raw land.
it's not an established farm, but also we do have an as of right determination. So the attorney is obviously correct that you can, but it's supposed to come to this commission first for as of right, because not every bit of farming is exempted. And it specifically states that in 4.1A. The provisions of the section shall not be construed to include road construction, erection of buildings not related to farming, relocation of water courses, filling or reclamation of wetlands, clear cutting of timber, except for the expansion of agricultural cropland, etc. We have no plan. We reached out multiple times and we requested that the property owners meet with us, give us a site plan. We will work with you. We will guide you through the process. But at this point, we have no as of right determination request, no farm, use on the property. And all I have is cutting in wetlands without permits and using heavy equipment within 50 feet of wetlands without permits.
And I think we need a site visit because there's so much relief on this property. It's a lot of ledge and everything is, whatever happens as far as any agricultural use will impact that stream, which feeds into Long Island Sound. And it's just, that's the reception. It's going to receive all that surface water, all the animal waste and everything. So it is a significant activity.
Well, you're also supposed to have a manure management plan, which we don't have either. And what the attorneys presented tonight is all news to me. We did not receive any of those plans with any, so we don't know where anything is going to be nor what it's going to be.
I'm going to try to bring this back to wetlands because wetlands is what's at issue. It's this commission's jurisdiction. There is no jurisdiction for you to determine whether or not the farming activity is going to have a significant impact on the wetlands. That is only for the state. This commission has no jurisdiction over it.
But am I wrong that this is not really a farm yet because you haven't gone through the process?
No. No, it's not correct.
So when we look at sort of the sort of establishment of farm, right? There's multiple ways in which farmers and farming sort of interact with the town. We've already addressed the P490 piece is strictly a tax issue. The planning and zoning designation and the requirements for special exception applications under that set of regulations is separate and distinct from the inland wetlands regulations. So it's my understanding, and this is something that our town attorney can advise on, and one of the things that I would recommend is continuing this hearing until the next meeting, simply because you have new information that you haven't had a chance to fully evaluate, but also to help clarify this distinction between is the establishment of a farm use under the zoning regulations is not the same as coming to you for a determination of regulated activity, essentially. That's a different process. And so folks could be engaging in farming activity that may be permissible under the inland wetlands regulations, but may have different criteria under zoning. So we want to make sure that we're keeping those two lines very bright. What we don't know, and because we haven't had a chance to evaluate fully evaluate what's been presented tonight, is exactly what Kathy said. Is there any activity proposed on the plans that would not fall under the exemptions in as of right uses that would normally come to you in an application under Section 4? And so the typical procedure would be that there would be that the application for an as of right determination, at which point all of this information would be fully evaluated. And so I think that's important to sort of look at in terms of a process. I think it would not be a recommendation of staff to issue that determination this evening, because I don't believe that you've had the opportunity to fully evaluate what's been presented to you for the first time. That doesn't mean that determination couldn't be made at a later date at all. It's just more of a procedural piece and making sure you have a full opportunity to review.
Could we, if we continue, could we get either, I guess, an opinion or ruling from town council or town attorney on whether we consider this property a farm that falls under our regulations?
So the thing that you'll be looking at is what are the activities being conducted and proposed on site and their relationship to the wetlands, and so number one, they fall in your physical jurisdiction in an upland review area, and two, do they fall under the category of what is defined as a farm in statute and the inland wetlands regulations? I don't know, Jennifer, are you on yet with us? No, not yet. Okay.
If I may, the issue is not, is it a farm? The issue is it farming? Two entirely different things. Because towns may or may not something as a farm. But the activity on the ground is farming. And to this gentleman's question about it isn't established as a farm yet, there are court cases about that. The preparation of the soil, cutting trees, removing stumps, removing rocks, that is farming. If you are clearing an area for a pasture, for horses, for cows, for other animals, when you bring your equipment on and start cutting trees and start pulling out stumps, that is farming. I can read you the this is from Sackler versus Inland Wetlands Agency, the town of Woodridge, 2006. There seems to be a suggestion in the record that the Sacklers' activity in cutting trees, removing their stumps, and removing stones is a preliminary activity to a farming operation and therefore not subject to the farming exemption. Nothing in the statutory language supports such a proposition. If its logic is followed through, it would appear that only farms already in existence at the time the Inland Wetlands Act was passed could claim the exception. No new farming activity could be started in the wetlands or in the buffer zones adjacent to it. So just doing the preparatory work for the farm is farming. courts have said that.
So my question is just directed to the land use. What determines whether in our town a property can be a farm or not? Can I claim my residence as a farm all of a sudden and allow me to cut my property?
So there's two paths. So there's the farming regulations under the zoning. Or under zoning regulations, right? And those are establishing the land uses that are allowed by zone, the acreage you have to have, the requirements of being considered a farm under the zoning regulations. Farming activities, as was presented under inland wetlands, are not necessarily they're not dependent on that designation having been granted from the Planning and Zoning Commission. What would be asked of this commission in a request for an as of right determination would be, is the farming activity that's being proposed as of right? And the reason, and so that distinction comes in where certain activities, as I mentioned, are not exempt. You would have the opportunity then to evaluate, are there any proposed activities that would not be as of right that should come in through separate permitting, or is everything being proposed as of right and it would fall under this exemption? You would make that determination. That process is the process that needs to be followed for the commission's piece. So there isn't the Inland Wetlands Commission doesn't make the land use designation that it is or is not a farm. And it's as my understanding, it is not dependent on the Planning and Zoning Commission's action in order for you to act on farming activity.
And another thing with regard to the declaratory ruling, certainly their regulations say that you're supposed to get a declaratory ruling. Virtually every set of regulations in the state says that. However, that is the fact that they didn't get a declaratory ruling in advance does not affect this commission's jurisdiction. And here's Conservation Commission, Town of Fairfield versus Di Maria. While the declaratory ruling pursuant to section 4.4 of the Fairfield Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Regulations should have been sought before work began, the failure to seek such a ruling does not alter the exempt status of the work performed and contemplated. So simply because they didn't get the ruling in advance does not mean this commission has jurisdiction. It still does not. So, we are asking that the cease and desist be lifted because this commission has no jurisdiction over it. Obviously, their next step is going to be deal with zoning. They've got a second cease and desist. They still can't operate until that one's dealt with. So all of the procedures that your staff has indicated, are all still on the table. But we got this one first, so we're dealing with this one first. And this commission simply doesn't have the jurisdiction to regulate.
So, yeah, can I, one question?
Yeah.
So on your site, I'm looking at your site plan, number 13, you have listed as firewood production lot.
Correct.
So in our regulations under 4.1A, it says the provisions of this section shall not be construed to include, and Catherine was reading it, road construction or the erection of buildings not directly related to farming, relocation of watercourses with continual flow, filling or reclamation of wetlands or watercourses with continual flow. And this is where I'm kind of hung up. Clear cutting of timber, except for the expansion of agricultural cropland or the mining of topsoil, peat, sand, gravel, or something. So I guess your clear cutting area, how is that for expansion of agricultural cropland or mining of topsoil?
There's no clear cutting in that area, that particular area. That area is not the subject of the wetland cease and desist the subject of the wetland cease and desist is farther.
I
Back
beg to
north.
differ. So there are two sides to the property, and he's correct. The one side where they're doing most of the cutting is not, but the area that's in the wetlands, the one I took the photos of, where all the trees were being cut and there was the heavy equipment bringing into the wetland. And again, with no plan, no communication or submission from the property owner, all I see is wetlands enforcement officers cutting and clearing within 50 feet of wetlands, heavy equipment, no explanation.
Right, and I'm not in any way saying that the cease and desist order was issued in error. If I were in her position, I probably would have issued it too. But it still doesn't mean that this commission has jurisdiction.
So it's hard to determine whether we have jurisdiction, like you say, or not based on this site. So in this, we can't tell what areas you're clearing for agricultural use, farm use, grazing, farming, nurseries, gardening, or harvesting crops, and what you're not. I mean, you
shows right on there exactly which areas are being used. You have a question about any specific area?
Number 10 is the agricultural area shown on the map. Next over.
Yeah, so, I mean, without viewing your property and having, a site walk to see, how do we know that buildings aren't getting erected that aren't specifically for farming? I mean, I'm not arguing that farming is as of right, I agree, it's in our regulations. But how do we know that, there's not roads being constructed that aren't connected to farming? I mean, if our town wetlands agent isn't allowed to be on site to visually inspect it, and we can only see from your photos and from the street, how do we know that there's not things way back in the forest that are?
How do you know I'm not building a Walmart back there?
Well, exactly.
Well,
so how can we issue that this is all as of right and with your word on that you're going to farm it and that I mean, it's very clear you all want to farm. I don't think we're arguing that. I think there's some maybe misunderstanding between the town and the property owners of, is this really considered a farm in terms of town's eyes? But I think it's really difficult for us to come to a conclusion tonight that every activity that you have with the plan that's presented tonight is indeed linked to farming and then would be as of right. So I would make the recommendations that the property owners would be okay. We set a site walk so that we could see it for ourselves, see each of these areas in relation to where the wetlands are, determine if these areas are indeed fall under the as of right, and then get a ruling from our town attorney, an opinion from town. Then I think we have enough to determine.
Well, I think we need to be clear. There is currently a cease and desist on file, which itemizes certain things. It doesn't say all of the things that they may or may not do are a violation of your wetlands regulations. It lists very specific things. And we're showing you that those specific things, the cutting in that specific area, is being done for a very specific purpose. So whether there is a road running somewhere else on the property on the 27.5 acres is really irrelevant, because we're only talking about the issues that are on the cease and desist order. That's what we're asking to be lifted. That's what we're saying. The cease and desist order covers farming activity that I've just indicated on the map. So all these other things that may not even be anywhere near a wetland are certainly not within this commission's jurisdiction.
You keep saying that.
So
I just want to say
that. You keep saying
that. Yeah, you do. You keep saying that we have no jurisdiction.
Right.
And it's really, I'm gonna say this because I've listened to everything that you've been saying. It seems to me that it is a real shame that an adversarial relationship had to be created and established and nurtured with these birds. It's a real shame that the owners, perhaps you involved, didn't come to the Wetlands Commission, didn't come to planning and zoning and talk about this first. I mean, but standing there and you're well prepared, this is the first time we're all hearing this, right? You know, and citing state statutes and what's going on in Fairfield. Okay, but we need to process this. We really need to make a determination because having pictures of a horse and a goat may be farming to you. That may be farming to you. It's not farming to me. Wetlands are really being affected here. And we do have jurisdiction.
Not with regard to farming.
Okay.
Okay,
So
keep arguing.
We've established.
It's a real shame.
I think so procedurally, and in the absence of the town attorney being able to join the commission on this meeting, I think the correct course of action for the commission would be to review the information that's been submitted into your record for this hearing in greater detail for staff and the attorney to review it as well and provide any comments or questions back if there's any clarifying points about the extent of the farming activities being proposed or more, if there's more information needed.
Excuse me, Abby. She's
Oh,
jumped
okay,
in.
so our town attorney is just coming in now. But the recommendation is to continue this hearing until the May meeting to sufficiently allow for time to have those questions asked, answered, make sure the record is complete, so that if there is anything else the commission needs to know, it's on the record. And I don't know, Jennifer, if you have any thoughts.
Hi, good evening. For the record, Jennifer Capola from Sewell and D'Onofrio. I'm here tonight in representation of the commission. I apologize. I did have a previously scheduled enforcement matter in another meeting that I did need to attend. And I see that obviously I've not heard the testimony that has been given. And I don't know exactly what is the property owner, affected property owners, are they present or?
Yes.
Okay. And I assume that testimony then was offered by them as well as by your enforcement official?
Correct.
Yeah.
The attorney Dubitsky is here to represent them, and so he's been providing testimony on the owner's behalf.
Oh, okay. So the property owners did not testify?
They have not.
Only counsel. Okay. Well, you know, I certainly would like an opportunity again. I apologize, but this could not be helped. I would certainly like an opportunity to review what was discussed, and if there are specific questions that you would like my input on, I would be happy to note those now, and do suggest that you continue the show cause hearing to your May meeting, so that you have the benefit of counsel to answer any outstanding questions that you have based upon what you've heard tonight. And that's my recommendation.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
Excuse me,
Yes.
did you see Eddie's texts? He chatted in the box. He said, I'm going to recuse myself from any more deliberations from this point on for this application for 32 Old Knott Road. Sorry, Road. Should I address the chairman?
Thank you, Eddie. Eddie's refused.
So just so you know, that was in the chat.
Okay, so like it's town attorney's that recommendation that we continue this violation.
That's what I was
Next
raising my
month.
hand. I wanted to, suggest us continue it so we can actually have some questions from our town.
Okay, There was a question, I don't know, did the count or IWC want to see this site? I know, Mark, you had mentioned it.
It's gonna be helpful to see.
Is that something that the owners would be open to?
I'll discuss it with them and we'll get in touch with your wetland agent.
Okay. All right.
Very good. So what would happen with regard to that is it would be noticed. And I will handle that. You'll be contacted if consent is given by the property owners. You'll be contacted by staff as to a time. And so, council, if you could just, if consent is given, if there are particular times that they do prefer, days of week, whatever, if you could please provide that information. So that way we have that in terms of scheduling, but we will certainly get in touch with you when we've checked the schedule and availability of all the commissioners and staff. And I will take care of the noticing of it, and I'll be present as well to ensure that no conversations occur, because you will not be in a public meeting setting. So that's very important, that it literally just be a site visit, and that no discussion take place. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I entertain a motion to,
To continue the show cause hearing to the May 5th regular Inland Wetlands Commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to continue this on.
Oh, I second that.
the seconds. Any discussion? Mike Florio?
No, I'm good. No,
Is the cease and desist Bennington doing work now?
Yeah, it's all stop until it's with them. All right, all those voting in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anyone opposed or abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Great. Jennifer. All right, with that, I'll take the motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Second,
second it.
Mike Florio, second. All those voting in favor say aye.
Aye,
All right, thank you, everybody.
Oh.
Thank you, Mike and Eddie.
thanks.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Someone's right on.
Good night.
Can you save it?